I spoke at a healthcare conference recently, and every session I went to that dealt with anything having to do with security was all about HIPAA. So when I spoke, the first thing I said was, you know, I'd like you just kind of to forget about HIPAA for an hour because I want to talk about security. And they were sort of, you know, taken back by that. But in your mind, what's the difference between, or where does HIPAA fall short, or tell us about the chasm that you see between security and HIPAA?
So, and actually, this has been an area, you know, 2 years ago, we thought, we actually almost looked at firms like yourselves and your followers as competitors of ours, because in the market, people were mixing security and compliance, okay? Yep. But if you think of the two, they're actually two very different silos, but have an intersection point. So separate of the 6 individual steps you must do to be HIPAA compliant, it's really about, compliance is about proving that your organization is doing, has audited itself and is doing a certain amount of, let's say, minimum requirement to protect whatever it may be. And whether it be healthcare or GLB in the financial sector or PCI also in the, let's say, in the credit card sector, it's being able to prove or document what you did or did not do, okay? And the price you pay for doing it incorrectly is a fine, okay?
Yeah.
Security, on the other hand, is really about managing the risk and how you are protecting the access to the information. And for example, you know, to your book, you know, explaining, listen, you could have an absolute great lock on the door, but if you don't have the rest of detection and then response, you know, you will fail in security as well, right? Where they intersect is the term risk assessment, okay? And that a security risk assessment, depending on which act you're talking about, it means slightly different things. So in the case of, let's say, HIPAA, what is a security audit by definition within the HIPAA regulation, okay, is looking at what you have in place, and either you're doing something or you're not, or it's not applicable. Okay, the actual level of security of your firewall is not the question per se. Okay, it's are you doing these things or not? Whereas in the case of security, clearly, if you do not have the right protections in place and the right, the way I've often let's say helped people, let's say more, you know, the end client understand this is security is about the risk of your data getting exposed. Compliance is about keeping track of the things you do. The risk assessment is just